Hello, little artist. Today we're going to make a three-dimensional star, and we're going to need some paper. I have copy paper here. I've got several pieces just in case we make a mistake. Go ahead and have several pieces ready. You're going to need some scissors, and you're also going to need markers or color pencils. I'm going to start with one piece of paper, and I'm going to take this piece of paper and turn it the tall way. And I'm going to fold the bottom up to the top. I'm going to line up the edges and I'm going to press it flat. While we're working on this project, you need to make sure, one, to keep your paper turned the same direction as mine. That will help us to make sure we have all our folds done correctly. You also need to make sure that you line up your edges and make your folds as nice and crisp as possible. So if you see here, I have my line here lined up with this other edge right there. And I tried really hard to line them up perfectly. And then I folded it. Here's my fold. Once you get the piece of paper folded in half, the next step is we're going to take this corner right here and we're going to move it to the middle right here. If I go from top to bottom, here is the middle. I'm going to hold my finger right there so you can see the middle. I'm going to take this edge here. I'm going to fold it over to that edge. I'm going to hold it down like that so that I can press this down in here and then press it flat. So see how that lines up? Now I'm going to take this corner and fold it over to here. But the thing is, see my paper edge right there? I need this edge right here to be my fold for this triangle. I'm going to take my triangle and see how I'm lining up my fold right there. It's a little hard to see in the light. But I'm going to fold this up all the way to the other fold so that when I fold it down, there is no gap between the two. Let me show you what I mean. See how my fold for this piece is lined up with this fold right here. See? Don't open it up though. Once you get that fold folded down like that, make sure your edges line up. It's very important. We get nice, tight little corners. So make sure that your corners are always nice and tight. No gaps, and always come to a point, a tip. Now that I have that fold done, now I'm going to take this edge here and line it up with this edge here. Okay? So I'm going to take it over here, making sure to press this down inside. Take it over. Now this is kind of hard because my paper is getting so thick. See this corner right here? I need to be very careful and make sure I got it pressed down inside. And if something's not folding correctly, you just need to make sure that you've got everything pressed down, make sure everything's staying in place, and make sure again that you're getting that nice tip. We don't want it like that. See, we want to pull it nice and tight. And the more you mess with it, the better it will get. So I've got to fold it and I'm pulling on it. And see my edges are lined up. I'll put it back down. It's always nice to work on a flat space. For this folding project, you want to work on a flat space so you can press down your folds. Now if you look right there, it's hard to see, but I've got a little problem. It doesn't go to a tip, so I got to make sure I fix that there. It just needed to be moved over just a little bit, and once I get it in place, I go ahead and press my folds down nice and tight. I like to use my thumb or my finger to press it down against that flat edge, or against my table. Now that I have that, The next step is to flip it over like this. Now, it might be hard to see in the lighting that I have, but see how this edge stops right here? I am going to take my marker, use pencil, marker, whatever you have, and right here where this edge stops, I'm going to put a dot right there. On this edge, from top to bottom, I'm going to find the middle, and then I'm going to go down. Here's the middle, about the middle. I'm going to go down a little bit, and I'm going to put another dot. So I have 2 dots. Now I need my scissors, and I am going to cut 1 dot to the other. Now my scissors are nice and long, so I'm almost able to make it all the way to the other edge. See that? I can line them up. I don't want to go this way or this way. I've got to make sure it's straight across. If your scissors are not long enough to go from 1 dot to the other, you could use some type of straight edge to line them up and draw your line. So I'm just using another piece of paper. Instead of that marker this time, though, I'm going to use my pencil. So if I draw on my other piece of paper, I can erase it. And there's my line. So once I get that done, if my scissors are short, remember if your scissors are long enough, you can just cut. But if not, and you need to draw that line, that's fine too. But you cut out there. And see, I can use my eraser if I need to and erase the pencil lines. And then you should be able to open it up and find that you created a star. These pieces are not needed. I'm going to put those aside. And I have my star. I'm going to flatten out my star because before I turn it into a 3-dimensional star, I'm going to decorate it. Now for decorating, you can use a Sharpie, you can use markers, you can use color pencils, it's your choice. I am going to start with a Sharpie, a fine tip Sharpie. Actually, it's an ultra fine. And I want you, whether you're using color pencils, markers, or a Sharpie, I want you to start with black. We're going to start in the middle, and we're going to draw a line tracing right on top of that fold. And you see there's a lot of folds to trace. Do your best to stay on that fold, but don't worry if it gets a little bumpy. For this special project, we're going to have a black and white part and then a color part. Black and white, color, black and white, color, black and white, color. So there are lots and lots of patterns and designs out there. You can create your own. You can use some of my examples. It is your choice. I'd like to start with my black and white patterns. I'm going to use some entangling patterns for this one. You can make them simple and easy, or you can use some more sophisticated patterns. If you would like to get some examples, I'm going to make a link at the bottom to these patterns, but I've printed them out. Several of them start off very simple, and then you can decide how sophisticated you like for them to get. For example, the polka dots, and then add circles around those, and then add little leaves so they look like little rosettes. And then if you even want to fill in your space more, you can add even more little circle rosettes in the background around them. This is the same. You start with little wavy lines, you add more, And then if you want to get a little more difficult, you can go in and create like a little weaving pattern. And like I said, some of these are very easy. Some of them are a little more sophisticated. If you would like to use some of these, you can, but you do not have to. But I'm going to start. You're going to fill in just one space, skip one, fill in the next, because we're going to use our black and white patterns first. So now that I have all my black and white patterns done, I'm going to work on some color patterns. You can choose just a couple of colors. You can choose all of the colors, your choice. You can have a different color pattern in each one, just like I did with the black and white, or you can have the same color pattern, your choice.
Now that I have all my decorating done, it is time to refold my star so that it becomes a three-dimensional piece.
If you remember where I drew that first black line, that is where our folds are. So I am going to go back and I'm going to fold. And I have to line it up in half every time. So I'm going to fold it in half, open it back up, and fold it in half. And it should line up. If it doesn't, just try to kind of manipulate it and fix it. So there goes one fold. So I start at the tip and I fold it in half. And make sure that this part I press down really good. I don't have to worry about the bottom part. And then I'm going to fold the next one, lining up that tip part. Again, the bottom part I'm not as worried, but this part needs to be good and pressed. Alright, so I've done those two, now this one. So I'm just making sure that one fell right in place. All that I had folded, all my folds are back folded. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this tip and this tip. I'm going to pinch it here. I'm going to pinch it here. And see, mine's already doing it all by itself. It's going inward. So I'm going to take and mush these two tips together and press it flat. So I've got two tips together. This part in the middle went down, and you can see that it's already starting to pop a little bit. Now I'm going to move to this one and do the same thing. So I've got this one. I'm going to push the middle down so that I can fold my two tips together with the middle down between the two. And I just keep going around doing the same thing. Two tips together and mush the middle down so that my two tips line up and the part between them goes down in the middle. So those are done. I got, I think, one or two more, because we have to do this to all the tips. Take the tip, squeeze it together, press it flat. My middles went in pretty easy this time. I think I didn't get this one though. Look. Oh, yeah, I did. And once I do that, I have, see, it's flat, and then I've got it popping up. It's three-dimensional. It's flat on this side, and it sticks up that way. And now we have this fun star. We can take this star and we could put a little string at the top, just glue a little string to hang it somewhere. We could add it to some other artwork. We could leave it just as it is. There's a lot of different things you could do with it. I think that the color variation between my bright colors and my black and white really add to the look. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, make sure to subscribe and like this video.